Now we have Mark Yusko and Rob Nance. Thank you both for joining Digital Assets 101.
Great to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Mark, you are one of the most experienced leaders in traditional finance to make the move into digital assets. So congrats.
Thanks.
And you've led investment of university endowments at Notre Dame. This is where I talk about all the great things you've done, and the University of North Carolina. And of course, you now run the multi-billion-dollar asset management firm Morgan Creek. So my question for you today is, how will this transition impact the financial sector, individual investors, institutional investors, everyday people, and even companies? And give us a deeper dive on how these changes affect everyone, basically.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to really focus on, Shira, is that this is a technology evolution, right? It's not really a revolution. It's an evolution from many, many years of computing power increases for all the way back to 1950s with the mainframe, 68 the microchip, 82 the personal computer, 96 the internet, 2010 the mobile net, and now what 2024 comes along, which I'll dub the trust net, and the internet of value, the internet of money, whatever we really want to call it. And people say, well, that's 6 years from now. I'm like, that's the whole point. So what's going to happen over the next 6 years is this technological evolution is going to impact how all investors think about investing. So we've been living in the analog age. We have paper stock certificates, paper bonds. I just got a paper title to my boat trailer. What am I going to do with that? I don't want paper. It should be digital. So we're going to change to everything digital, and Pomp was saying earlier, there are stocks, bonds, currencies, commodities. There's going to be crypto stocks, crypto bonds, crypto commodities, and crypto equities, and crypto commodities, cryptocurrencies. So all of us as investors are going to have to migrate into this brave new world.
Definitely. Now, Rob, not only are you investing in digital asset infrastructure at CityBlock Capital, but your venture fund, NYCQ, is also a digital asset. So how is this different from what other VC firms are doing right now, and why do you see CityBlock's model as really a game changer?
Yeah, I think that one of the big negative feedback pieces to investing in venture capital certainly are the long lockup periods associated with it. I've been running a venture fund for a number of years, and I got ready to raise a subsequent one, and as one of my LPs eloquently put it, they said, the average venture fund lasts twice as long as the average American marriage. And I like you, but I don't want to marry you twice. And I said, well, that's fair. And so we started to explore how could we bring liquidity to venture. And we stumbled across what was really happening in the blockchain market and saw the ability to use this technology to provide liquidity to illiquid assets. And we thought, if we're making a commitment to invest in this infrastructure, then it made a lot of sense to produce a digital asset ourselves and to kind of put our money where our mouth is and say, listen, this is a better form of ownership. Venture capitalists preach innovation all day long to their portfolio companies, but the venture model hasn't advanced itself in 50 or 60 years. So we want to take that next step of evolution.
That's so interesting that you say that. It's almost like hypocrisy in a way.
Right.
What should the financial sector and the companies know about preparing for digital assets then? If this is coming, what should they be doing?
Well, I think that for a lot of companies, it's very beneficial.
Yeah.
It'll create much easier access to capital that we haven't seen before. If you think about it, a number of firms have attempted to, we'll call it democratize investing, right? Provide access to investors to asset classes they didn't have access, and they kind of failed. And what's changed in the past few years is that the Bitcoin network, the Ethereum network, has broken down these barriers that existed in people's mind. So even 4 or 5 years ago, someone that lived in Ukraine, for example, really couldn't conceptualize investing in startups in New York City or blockchain startups in the US. But what Bitcoin did is it said, listen, there are no borders when it comes to investing now, and I can invest anywhere. And so what's interesting is because of those networks, people now look everywhere in the world for investment opportunities. So I think that as companies are getting started, they can think about sourcing capital not just from traditional channels like venture capital, but also through retail investors around the globe.
Yeah, sure. I would add on that just a great point that you brought up earlier, the question about how is this going to really impact all types of investors? And if we think about the way investing has been done, it's really been a walled garden for the wealthy. And they're the ones that had exposure to the best opportunities, the best deals, the best innovative companies and technologies. And what blockchain technology does, and what cryptocurrencies and crypto commodities, crypto equities, it's crypto assets really does, is this democratization is real for the first time. We take down the global borders. And I use the example of a iconic hotel here in New York City. How many people are there that could buy that hotel? 200, 300, you got to come up with $600 million, not that many people. But if you can fractionalize it and people can own a share of that, how many people around the world would like to own a stream of that cash flow? Million, 100 million, a billion? It's a big number. So the opportunity set, I came out of the endowment world, and endowments have lived in this rarefied air of having access to the best venture capital talent, the best illiquid assets, and they earned a premium, this illiquidity premium. Well, if you flip that around and say it's an illiquidity discount for illiquid assets, if crypto technology or blockchain technology can unlock that discount and make it available to the mass affluent and even the masses as investors, it's a really big revolution and a really big opportunity.
Definitely agree with that. So before we have our next two experts on to join us to discuss legal and compliance, which are two very important issues here, I want to play a short clip from SEC Chairman Jay Clayton from earlier this summer discussing digital assets.